Amanda Knox and Monica Lewinsky just might be the team up people didn't know they needed. At a time, by the way, when people are revisiting best treatment of women in pop culture, and two outspoken and personalities have joined forces for a new project. What will be happening? Amanda, by the way, Amanda Knox and Monica Lewinsky are both serving, by the way, as executive producers on the twisted tale of Amanda Knox and an 8-part dramatic limited series debuting Wednesday on Hulu, and with Grace Van Patten and starring in the title role. And Lewinsky, by the way, and Lewinsky and Knox are bonded in having been publicly and chained, scorned and mocked, by the way, for things that happened when they were young women. And Knox, by the way, told the Hollywood Reporter in an article published this week that she and Lewinsky became friends in 2017 season after they shared a stage in a lecture hall. And she said Lewinsky invited her up to her hotel room afterwards for some tea and talk. And by the way, she had a lot of advice about reclaiming your voice and your narrative, and Knox told the publication that ended up being a turning point for me. And in 27, by the way, season Knox was a 20 years old exchange student living in Italy, and when she and her then 23 years old Italian boyfriend, Raffaele, by the way, were accused of murdering her 21 years old roommate Mercedes Kirsch, and in their shared apartment in Perugia. And Knox, by the way, was dubbed Fox Knox and her MySpace username, and there was an early theory and that Creatures, this, by the way, was part of an erotic game and involving her Knox, and by the way, Knox and Solkito were convicted and spent nearly 4 years in prison. And before their convictions, by the way, were overturned and they were vindicated through there is still debate and curiosity about the crime. And by the way, there was a media frenzy surrounding the case, and if anyone knows what Knox has lived through, it would be Lewinsky. And Lewinsky, by the way, was also in her early 20s in the 1990 when she engaged in a sexual relationship with the then President Bill Clinton while serving as his intern. And since then, by the way, she has become a writer, producer, and broadcaster, and an activist on Monday. And she talked to CNN Aaron Burnett and about what drew her and Knox together. And actually, I could see, by the way, that there was a pain in her, and it's a very unique pain that I recognize it. And Lewinsky says that. So I think, by the way, there was an instant connection, an instant understanding of two young women, and who had become public people, who hadn't wanted to, and had lost a lot of their identity. And years after Knox, by the way, was first launched into the public eye, and Lewinsky read a New York Times and an interview in which Knox spoke, by the way, of wanting to turn her memoir into a movie. And I had a first look deal at the time, and I thought, a story that we think and we know that we don't is kind of right up. And my ally, Lewinsky, recalled, and Hulu is marketing the limited series as telling the story of the eponymous American college student and who arrives in Italy for her study and abroad, by the way, abroad only to be wrongfully and imprisoned for murder weeks later. Thank you so much. Have a nice time and great day. Thank you.